Have you received a letter of overpayment from the Social Security Administration and it's causing you stress and anxiety because they're asking you to pay a huge sum of money that you don't have? Well, this video is for you. In this particular episode, I'm going to show you and explain what Social Security overpayments are about, why they happen, and the three options available to you to be able to address it, including appealing the decision or even filing for a waiver for the entire amount to be canceled. So let's get into it. But before I do that, if you are new to this channel, I want to urge you to subscribe because what we are about, this entire channel is dedicated to providing you up-to-date information about Social Security and disability benefits and anything that's happening in and out of Congress that may affect your benefits. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started. So, what is Social Security overpayment? Well, if you receive an overpayment letter from the Social Security Administration, this is what it means. An overpayment letter is essentially the Social Security Administration saying that they have paid you more benefits than you were entitled to. So, whether you're on Social Security benefits or disability benefits, essentially the Social Security Administration is saying that what they've been paying you for a period of time was more than you were eligible for. So, since the period of time that they have discovered that they were paying you more money than they should be paying you, that period is when the overpayment begins. And so they are calculating your overpayment amount from that period. So that's number one. So you may have received this letter and it has a huge amount on it that you are entitled to pay. So the administration asking you to pay this gigantic amount and it's probably causing you a lot of stress and anxiety. And I totally get it because a lot of people that are receiving these letters, Social Security benefits are their only source of income. So they're on fixed income. So to get a letter months or years later asking you to pay thousands of dollars back to the Social Security Administration for money you probably don't have can be a very, very frightening thing. And the letters themselves can be very frightening because they are threatening you with taking portions of your Social Security benefits in the future or actually taking your entire paid Social Security checks going forward to pay the overpayment until it's been resolved. So I'm going to explain to you what the letter is about and what you can do about it. So, one of the things that we need to clear up here is that a lot of Social Security overpayment letters are due to disability benefits. So, if you're on Social Security retirement benefits, there are situations where there will be overpayment, but majority of the overpayments happen with Social Security disability, including SSI and SSDI. The reason is that when you're on disability, there are extra requirements and extra reporting requirements that you have to adhere to. So when your situation changes, financial situation, household situation, living situation, you have to let the Social Security Administration know. Otherwise, that could land you into an overpayment situation where they can claw back months and years of payment when they discover that you have more money than you should have, you have more assets than you should have, or they are paying you more money because the information you provided when you apply for Social Security disability was incorrect. So they calculated your benefits based on an incorrect information you provided, and so now they want the money back. Now, I'm going to share a story of a lady called Lori Cochran, and that exemplifies or clarify the problem that a lot of people on disability have been facing with this situation with Social Security overpayments. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to her story about how she ended up owing $27,000 to the Social Security Administration while on disability benefits. So, how does disability overpayments happen? Well, according to the Social Security Administration website, these are the reasons why overpayments happen with disability benefits. Number one, your income is more than you estimated when you reported it to them, your living situation has changed. So you're getting a lot of stuff for free, or some family members are donating food or living housing to you, and that changes your income situation. So they are counting more things as income than you have shared with them. Your marital status have changed. That could affect your disability benefits. You have more resources. And in case of Laura Cochran, you're gonna find out her situation was because she had more resources than the allowable limit, or you are no longer disabled and continue to receive benefits, or you have not reported a change. A lot of people on Ticket to Work program have reporting requirements that they are missing, and then could land them in a situation where they could should have reported something that they didn't, and then the Social Security Administration realizes that you are getting more money than you should get, and now they want to claw some of that back. And then lastly, they have may have figured that when they calculated your social security disability benefits or your social security benefits in the beginning, they were incorrect because of incomplete information. Now, regardless of where the incomplete information came from, they have realized that they calculated your benefits wrong. You are getting more money than you're entitled to, so they want some of it back. So, how does the Social Security Administration handle overpayments? Well, they want their money back. So typically, they will send you a letter in the mail, and they will give you 30 days to pay the money back in full. This is the part that really, really frightens a lot of people. Imagine receiving a letter from the Social Security Administration in the mail telling you you owe thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and then they're giving you 30 days to pay when you are on fixed income. Well, that is the rule, and that is why this causes a lot of stress for a lot of people. And sometimes they will propose that they will take monthly payments, or up to 10% of what you are receiving. Or if you owe a large amount of money, they will actually take your entire payment for a period of time until they have collected all the money that you owe. So you may be on disability benefits, or you may be on social security benefits, and they will stop sending you payments until all your overpayments have been collected back. And then the letter will explain your rights to you, about how you can appeal the decision, how you can ask for a waiver, etc., etc. So that is what I'm about to explain to you, what you need to do or how to handle overpayment. Now, before we get into that, know that the Social Security Administration's goal is to collect money that they think the government is due back. So there are a lot of tools available to them to do that. I have talked about two of them. They can take a portion of your future checks, your Social Security checks, they can take a portion up to 10%, or they can stop sending you payments until the full amount is collected, depending on your circumstances. They can also intercept federal tax refunds, and if you're working, they can garnish your wages. So there's a lot of tools available to the Social Security Administration to deal with overpayment situations and collect their money back. Now, the tactics that they've been using to collect this overpayment has drawn a lot of scrutiny from Congress. And recently, there was a big story from the Kaiser News Network and the Cox Media Group. They did an investigation, and they realized that the Social Security Administration has been targeting vulnerable people, including people on disability benefits, to repay overpayments in thousands of dollars, and are putting a lot of people in very, very difficult situations who don't even have the money to pay back to begin with. And a report is from ABC News is showing that last year, 2022, Social Security Administration collected $4.7 billion in overpayments, and they have 21.6 billion in overpayments uncollected as of November 2022. So you can see that there is a huge amount out there that they need to collect. There's a lot of people impacted, and if you are impacted, stay tuned for how to deal with this. But in the meantime, let me share with you some of the horror stories that people have been experiencing with these Social Security overpayment letters. So, for example, this lady, Delphina in Texas, received a letter saying that she owed $41,000 and the Social Security was asking for the money back in 30 days. I don't know how many people in middle or low income have $41,000 laying around that they can just give back when asked in 30 days. So you can see how this particular tactic causes a lot of people stress when they receive these overpayment letters from the Social Security Administration. Next, let's talk about Lori Cochran. This is the person I introduced in earlier. This was one of the stories that the Kaiser Health News investigative reporting discovered. So I'm going to focus a little bit on her to explain what happened in her situation so that you can understand how these things happen to people, sometimes unaware that they've tripped a wire and have done something that has caused an overpayment situation with the Social Security Administration that did not even realize. So, what happened with her was that if you're on disability benefits, Social Security disability, SSI, SSDI, you can only have $2,000 in assets. And the Social Security Administration flagged her account because there was a life insurance policy that her mom gave her that had a cash value of $4,000. Clearly, that is over the $2,000 asset limit that the Social Security Administration allows for disability beneficiaries. So, ever since they realized that she's had that life insurance policy that has a $4,000 cash value, the Social Security Administration, every month that she's had that 4,000 in her account, was counted as a period where she should not have been entitled for disability benefits. So every disability payment that was sent to her when that cash value life insurance went into effect, became available to her, she was owing the $914 she was receiving, and the Social Security Administration wanted it back. And it all added up to $27,000 that she was required to have to pay back. Now, the agency is saying that, well, she can pay, as I said, they can give you options. You can either pay 10%, they can deduct 10% a month until you pay it back, which in her case was $91.40. That's 10% of a 914 monthly benefit. And they're gonna keep deducting that until they get all the 27,000 collected back. And in her case, due to her age, her response was, well, this is going to follow me until my very old age because that's going to be a long time paying 900 and to paying $91 to be able to pay $27,000 back. It's going to take years to do that. So that is her situation. So if you're wondering about how do you resolve this with the Social Security Administration in a way that gives you some breathing room and allows you to just get this thing off your back, here are the options that you have to fix your overpayment issue. Number one, you can pay the amount you owe within 30 days, which a lot of people probably do not have. Number two, you can appeal the overpayment and you have 60 days to do that. And then number three, you can request a waiver, which means that you can show the Social Security Administration that you do not have the money to pay this money back because paying anything out of your Social Security check is going to cause you considerable financial distress. And so I'm going to walk you through each step and each option and provide you details if you pick a particular option, whether you want to pay it back and you agree with them, or you're appealing, or you want to request a waiver. I'm going to walk you through each of them in the next couple of slides. So let's start with an option to pay. If you agree with the Social Security Administration and you want to pay them back in full, well, you can go to their website and you have 30 days to do that. Why is that important? Because within that 30 days, they are expecting payback. If you don't pay, then after that, their collection mechanism, their collection process kicks in. So when they send you the letter, they're going to wait 30 days from the day they sent you the letter. And if they don't see the amounts there paid back in full, then they are going to start collection. So if you want to pay it back, if you agree with them, then you can go to their website and pay within 30 days. And you can pay it online on pay.gov, or you can call the Social Security Administration and tell them you want to pay overpayment back, and then they will be able to walk you through the process on how to do that. Next, if you want to file an appeal is an option for you. And what an appeal means that you're saying that you disagree with something about the overpayment, whether they got their information wrong, so you don't owe the money, or you owe money, but what they've calculated is not accurate. Whatever it is, you've determined that you want to appeal, you can go to their website and appeal within 60 days. Now, I am going to explain the appeal process in detail, but another option available to you is to also request a waiver. And you can also go there to their website and file the waiver. There's a form you have to fill up, and what it's saying is that you cannot afford to pay, and that this wasn't your fault, or you believe that this is an unfair thing that they're doing to you, so you are requesting a waiver, and you would have to submit your income and your expenses to show that you cannot afford to pay it back. So, appeal. Let's talk about appeal. Why you should appeal. The first thing, regardless of what you do, when you get a Social Security overpayment letter, you should appeal. Why? Because unless you agree with it, unless you agree with the amount, if you agree that yes, they were right, you were overpaid, then pay it back. But if you think, or it's a surprise to you, or you think that there's something wrong about the calculation, then the first thing you should do is appeal. And why you should appeal is that the Social Security Administration makes mistakes. So if you think there's something wrong with the letter, if you think that what they sent you is not accurate, it's okay to appeal because they do make mistakes. And so when you file your appeal, they give you 60 days to do that. But let me tell you this, it is best to file your appeal within 30 days. Why is that important instead of 60? Because after 30 days, their collection process starts. So if you file your appeal close to 60 days, they would have started their collection already. But if you file it within 30 days, it stops the collection process in its tracks, and it's stated right here. And so, what does the collection process mean? They will take part of your check or take your entire check, the next checks that are coming. So, if you want to avoid them taking your check or taking part of your check until this is resolved, file your appeal within 30 days. And that will stop everything, every action, adverse action that they plan in its tracks, and give you time to work with them to resolve this. Now, when filing your appeal, the first thing you need to do is you need to understand the reasons behind the letter. And sometimes the letter that they sent you may not be clear on everything that you need to know to be able to argue your case. So the best thing to do is visit your local Social Security office and get a good understanding of why the overpayment happened, and let them provide you more evidence, or call them, and then that will help you then prepare your appeal, which is called a request for reconsideration form. Form 561. You have to fill that form, provide all your supporting documentation, go to the Social Security manual, and find things in there that support what you are saying, or what made you do what you did, or what made you interpret things as you did interpret things, and file the appeal with that evidence. Now, what happens after you file the appeal? Well, you have to wait. At minimum, it takes 4 weeks for them to respond after you submit your appeal. And there are three things that could come out of your appeal. Number one, they could say, yes, we agree with you. You were right. You've provided us evidence to show that we were wrong. And so you don't owe anything. Number two, they may request additional information based on what you said in your appeal and the evidence or the reasons that you're providing. They may want more information. And when they ask for more information, be very prompt in responding, because again, remember, you want to stop any adverse action that they are planning against your future social security check. So the more you are responsive to them, the better it is for you in avoiding them taking your check or part of your check until this is resolved. And then number three, they may disagree with your appeal and say, no, based on what we know, you still owe the money. And so they may deny your appeal. And if it's denied and you still think that this is unfair or this is wrong or they are wrong in their calculation, or for whatever reason you don't think that what they're doing is right and you disagree because you think that they are looking at the information differently than they should, then the best thing to do is find an experienced social security attorney that can help you file a proper appeal and follow up so that you can fight this with the right experience and the right method that can get you the best shot of winning. Now, the Social Security Administration can be very intimidating. So that is why, if you have exhausted your own skills, find an experienced Social Security attorney that is versed in overpayments that can fight with you and file the proper documents in the right way to get you a good shot or to increase your odds of beating this. Now, the last thing you can do to deal with an overpayment is request a waiver. So requesting a waiver means that you disagree. If they reject your appeal, you can still file a waiver, because a waiver is saying, look, I don't think it's my fault, or I don't have the money to pay this because you waited so long and now you're asking me to pay all this money, and my current financial situation cannot handle that. And so if you take all my check, I'm not going to be able to live. Or if you take part of my check, it's going to affect me negatively because I need all my social security or disability check to live. So that is what a waiver, and you're going to show them your expenses, your income, and prove that there is no way you can pay this money back, regardless of whether it's your fault or not. You know. So the last resort, after you have, done the appeal, they decline it, and then you go into a waiver situation, you apply for a waiver and they say no, the last thing you can do is request a hearing. So a hearing is a very complex legal process, and you probably need an attorney to work with you on this because it's going to be heard in a court system, and you need an attorney that can help you prepare a proper case for a hearing, because you're going to be appearing before some form of judge that is going to hear the case and determine what needs to be done, what kind of action needs to be taken. So that is your last resort. When you filed an appeal and gone for a waiver and nothing is working, this is your last resort to fight this overpayment. Now, because the Social Security Administration have been getting a lot of blowback from Congress about their tactics in targeting vulnerable populations, people on disability, people on fixed income, they have been releasing statements. And one of them that came out recently, they are saying that they are very understanding and flexible on how they try to get these payments back. Some of the repayments are as low as $10 a month, Well, the situation that I showed you with Laurie Cochran, hers was $91 a month. So, there's that. But they are saying also that a lot of overpayments is as a result of disability benefits. So here again, if you're on disability, make sure that you are paying attention to all the rules about what is required from a reporting standpoint when your situation changes, when your status changes. All that is important because you don't want to end up in a situation where you're getting more money than you deserve or are eligible for, and the Social Security Administration will have to claw it back, especially if it's been happening for a while and you didn't know or you failed to do something that you were supposed to do. So educate yourself about what you need to be reporting to the Social Security Administration, what the limits are, what the deadlines are, and make sure that you stay on top of that. Now, the Social Security Administration, after all the blowback from Congress, have decided that they're going to review their overpayment practices. Now, that does not mean anything is going to change. They say they're going to review it. It doesn't mean that things are going to be forgotten or forgiven. It's just that they may make tweaks to how they pursue overpayments, especially with certain groups of people. So hopefully there are changes that may ease some of the pressure and stress that some people feel when they get overpayment letters from the Social Security Administration. So this investigation from the Kaiser Health News, the Kaiser Family Foundation Health News, and the Cox Media Group has really put a lot of pressure on the Social Security Administration to at least take a look at their practices regarding the overpayment pursuit. So that is all I have today. If you have any questions at all about Social Security overpayments, I want to hear from you. If you've gotten a letter of overpayments and have had an experience with the Social Security Administration, I want to hear about it. So please comment below, because the more we know these stories, the more we can highlight them so that we can hear and highlight and show and to a wider audience what has been happening behind the scenes, so that the more people know what your experience has been, the stress you're feeling, the anxiety, and the pressure, or even the garnishment of your Social Security wages, or the stop payment on your Social Security disability check because of overpayment. Whatever it is that you're experiencing with overpayment, I want to know, because the more we highlight these stories, the more it's going to get out. So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe so that when we release any information that may impact your benefits, you'll be the first to know. So until the next video, thank you for watching.